We'll look at converting and casting in this program. That's what we're going to call the project, or at least what I'm going to call the project, converting and casting. I'll make sure I've got that project selected and put in a new class. I do have the correct source folder. I'll call it converting and casting, all no spaces. We'll take a free public static void main string args, put some documentation at the top, including what this program will do. We'll learn how to convert and cast among data types. And I'll get these closing braces. The very last one ends the class, and this one ends the main method. Feel free to pause the program to do this yourself, just saving time on the video. Let's see what happens if we try to go from a double to an integer. So I'll have int pizza slices, and I'll have double the slices that you ate, because maybe you couldn't quite finish one piece, so you ate 8.75 slices of pizza. Maybe you left a little crust. So if we try to set pizza slices equal to slices you ate, looks like we've got a problem. Type mismatch. We cannot go from a double to an int. There's some suggestions given to us by Eclipse. We'll check some of those out in a little bit. But that's the truth. We cannot go from a double to an integer. We're going from wide to narrow. And there's a problem with loss of precision and loss of data. Doubles are considered wider or higher in rank, if you want to think of it that way. Let's see what happens going the other way. We'll have pizza slices equal to 11, and set slices you ate equal to pizza slices. Looks like this is okay. We can go from narrow to wide. We're all right to set a double equal to an int. In fact, we've seen this before in a previous program. Let's display what we've got for slices you ate. It's 11. In fact, 11.0 because it is a double. No problem taking an integer and setting a double equal to it, converting it to a double. But we do have problems going from a double to an integer. Casting can help us out. So imagine you're running or swimming some laps, and we're going to count laps by integers and then the laps that you've completed. We'll say you've completed 7.82 laps, and that's all you had. If we need to somehow get laps to equal laps you completed, we can cast laps you completed as an integer with putting int in parentheses. We mentioned in a previous video, this is a lot like casting you in a play. You're still you, but you're in the role of someone else. Same for laps you completed. It still is a double, but it's acting like it's an int. That's the role it's playing as it is cast. So Eclipse is allowing us to do that. Let's display what actually happens with these variables. Laps is 7 when laps you completed is 7.82. No rounding. You just get, it's called truncated. It truncates the decimal part. You just get the integer part when we cast it as an integer. Once again, we've got to be careful when we're dividing. We saw this in a previous video. So if we've got cookies and people that are going to get the cookies, we've got 116 cookies, and we have 41 people. We're going to try to divide the cookies among the people. Remember, you're free to use different numbers and different variables. I'm going to use a variable now of cookies per person to find out how many cookies everyone gets. And I'll try cookies divided by people. Remembering what we learned in a previous video, you've probably got a good idea what we're going to get for an answer. Go ahead and guess, and we'll run it and find out. Everybody gets 2.0 cookies. 41 goes into 116 two times. That's what happens when you divide integers. All you get is the integer result. So this is probably not what we were looking for. Since we declared a double variable, we were probably anticipating the possibility of getting some decimals for our answer. But we really didn't. We got 2, and then a 0.0 got slapped onto it. But again, when you divide an integer by an integer, the answer is going to be an integer. Well, how about if we divide cookies by people, in parentheses, and then take that answer and cast it as a double? What do you think will happen? Think about the order of operations. It's the same thing. Everyone gets 2.0 cookies. Cookies divided by people, an integer division process, came first. That integer answer was then cast as a double, which was 2.0 because cookies divided by people is 2. They're both integers, and the integer result of that answer is 2. So let's try casting one of those operands before we divide. We'll cast cookies as a double and then divide it by people. There we go, because that casting does happen before the division. Now, one of the operands is a double, and that means we can get a double answer. It doesn't matter if you cast cookies as a double or people as a double. In fact, you could cast them both, although that's not really necessary because you just need one of them as a double in order to get a double answer. And now, people can get more than 2 cookies. They get that extra 0.829, etc.